Welcome to the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast, presented by 13 Fishing Canada. Make your own luck. We're here to scratch that angling itch and talk everything fishing. Join us as we sit down with special guests from across the industry. Now, here's your hosts, Logan Lewis
and Jesse Cadron.
Well, hello and happy Friday, everyone, to the regular Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast listeners. Welcome to episode 107, Volume 3 of The Pre-Fish. I'm joined, of course, by my good friend Logan Lewis and co-host. How you doing, Logan?
I'm doing great. We're building ice here. Things are getting cold, and looking forward to getting out. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be home. Officially done my guiding season for the year. And I tell you what, I'm ready to get onto some fish. These cold temperatures got me thinking of ice fishing, early ice fishing, and which brings us to our topic today. We're going to be talking about everything stocked trout.
Ice fishing.
So go ice fishing specifically, going across Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta. There's tons of stocked trout opportunities, and we're going to say, to the best of our knowledge, we're not saying we're experts by any means, but if we can teach you guys one thing or give you a starting point when you're heading out this weekend or the next weekend to get on some amazing stock trout fishing, because our province, especially Saskatchewan, works super hard and keeps our lakes fully stocked and well managed to go take advantage of some of it and hopefully get bent.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I guess that kind of naturally takes us quickly into the sponsors here before we get into Volume 3 of the Pre-Fish here. So big thanks to 13 Fishing behind myself here if you're watching the video version. You can head over to the Rapala Canada website and use the code Weekend Warriors, that's WKND Warriors, to save yourself 15% off the entire website. Whether you're looking to check out the new Maven Ice Auger, save 15% on that. I think me and Jesse just placed an order. He's got some rods and reels coming. He gave the credit card a workout there.
Yeah, super excited.
Yeah, and if you are interested in any new products or want to know more, I believe it was just last episode that we sat down with Kyle, the Western sales rep for Rapala VMC. Yeah, so definitely check that episode out if you want to see what's all new for the Rapala family. But yeah, that kind of wraps things up for 13 there. And then Jesse talking about the stocking and all that good stuff. You can thank the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation for that, and we'd like to thank them for being a sponsor of the show. They do a bunch of great stuff for the province, and just one of those things is what we'll be covering here in this episode. Deals with the stocking program. They are responsible for all of that and so many other great things, whether it's access to land. The magazine's great. So find yourself a membership, head over to the website, find your local branch, $25, something like that for a membership, and you get to be part of a pretty awesome community. I'll say we in quotations. I only don't want to mention it because I'm trying to win.
There's something going on right now.
The Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation has a fundraising auction going on. I'm just pulling it up here on my phone. I'm joking that I didn't want to mention it because when it first started, I was the leading bid on 15 of the 67 items they currently had. And so I was hoping to win those. But hey, the more money they raise, the better, obviously. So let's see what they got here. It's on their Facebook page, I think 2 posts ago at the time of recording this. 67 items. It is the 97th annual SWF Convention online auction. I'm going to say that the first ones weren't online if it's the 97th one, unless they have more than one in a year.
I would say the first ones weren't online, yeah. Maybe the last 10 or so.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of great stuff on here. There's some pretty cool knife collections, quite a few, I don't know if I can say the word on Spotify, things to take your game with. Get rid of a projectile at the end. I don't know.
Things that go boom.
Things that go boom. So just some other lots in there too. So definitely head over, check it out. Their goal is to raise 10 grand, and it closes December 16th at 12:30 p.m. CST time. So
you'll have about 2 weeks or 10 days after this drops.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. There's some pretty cool items. I was bidding on quite a few of the things that go boom because I liked all the old stuff, and I thought even the ones that would be basically out of commission, I thought could be cool background stuff here and grow the hunting fishing room. I still have to hang up, so I got 3 Euro mounts over on the other side of this room here that I need to hang on a wall. I don't know if it can really be seen right now on the podcast, but yeah, gotta get working on some of that stuff. So I thought some of those things would be cool too. But yeah.
So get on that website and go outbid Logan is what we're saying.
Yeah, I can only go so high. I spent too much on fishing stuff. I can only spend so much at the auction.
Right.
Yeah. No, so I wanted to mention that, but yeah, that's it for the sponsors. We want to get right into this. Given the pre-fish kind of setup that we have here, for if you haven't listened to the first two, this is kind of just quick hitting information, straight to the point as much as we can be, us two. And just, trying to give all the information to get you out on the ice targeting your stock trout.
And we're just saying stuff that works for us, right? Like from our experience, we're no experts. We're just kind of going off of what people tell us, what we've seen, what we've done. Just trying to help you guys out as much as we can.
What the fish have told us as well.
Yeah. Logan talks to the fish.
Yeah. When you've been up on a lake for a couple days by yourself, the fish start talking to you.
Yeah.
Well, where do you want to start with this? We want to get into, we can start with probably right at the basics of what species you're going to be targeting.
Yeah. And so specifically the province of Saskatchewan, we have 5 stock trout species. We have brown trout, rainbow trout, brook trout, tiger trout, and splake, which is hybrid. Tiger trout, also a hybrid. In the province of Saskatchewan, they rotate tiger trout and brown trout every other year. I believe tiger trout are odd years and brown trout are even years.
What do you mean by that?
So like 2022, they'll stock brown trout instead of tigers. 2023, they stock tigers instead of browns. Because
you need the browns with the brookies, right? Is that why, or is that just part of their stocking program?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know. That's something I've noticed.
Okay. No, that's good to know. And we mentioned obviously Saskatchewan because that's where we are. Do want to say big thanks to everyone who listens all over the provinces because we're checking out the Spotify Wrapped for the podcast, and it's all over BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, down to the states as well. So, well, this should work most places, right? Given the way trout stocked lakes are for things. Obviously, once you get maybe into some of the more natural bodies of water for some of these species, things might change a little bit. But like Jesse said, this is from our own experiences and everything here. And just like we both watch videos just like everyone else does and all that stuff too. So
for sure.
No, those are our species there. We're not really focusing on lake trout right now. It's kind of a different game than the stock trout. So we'll just be focusing on those. What was it, 5 that you mentioned? Yeah, perfect. That's good. And we are talking about this right now as it is quite timely. This is mostly going to be a early ice and late ice thing that we suggest, at least. Early ice, you can get onto lots of these smaller lakes. They freeze over first. They've got the first safe ice. And when you're wanting to scratch that itch, you get to head up north, usually somewhere in the province, and have a nice weekend outing at these lakes. And then skip over January, February, and March almost, maybe tail end of
April.
March. Yeah, and get into April.
Yeah, because that's what's open.
Yeah, that's for those that aren't familiar. In Saskatchewan, everything's closed other than stock trout in April. And
not like those lucky Manitoba guys that just get to fish for pike and walleye all year.
Yeah, is that how it works?
I'm sure it's open all year.
Yeah, and so so that's kind of when we're doing this. Partly because they want to mention, obviously, with trout, maybe not the most hardy fish sometimes. So as far as the extreme cold and whatnot that you get into in January and February, obviously you can still target them, especially if you're in a shack or something along those lines. But it's just not as enjoyable of experience, depending how you're going to be fishing it with them or for them, right? So that's kind of one thing we talk about, and wanted to quickly mention with them not being as hardy. Obviously, want to try and take care of them. Obviously, that's quite a common thing when it comes to fly fishing or anything like that, they usually take pretty good care of those fish. And given how cold things can get, or it is hard to land a trout out of a little hole sometimes, right?
Very difficult, especially when there's only 3-4 inches of ice, like right now, or I guess there's probably 6 or 8 in a lot of those lakes. But even then, it's tough to get them up the hole, like to get them coming up.
And I don't know if it's just because we don't see trout as much here. Maybe it's different in other provinces where they're kind of the main thing that are targeted. But like that big brown I caught 2 years ago now that you were there for, like we were talking about the other day, like I didn't even take a length on it. It was like 60K winds that day. It was early ice. It just got terrible.
Terrible. It was so cold.
So, yeah, I think the picture was from a video. We just screenshotted it, quickly had it out and put it back. And I was like, that trout was so cool. I didn't want to have it die or anything because of me, right? And so I was like, would have been nice to get a length or anything like that. But hey, the fish's health is number one. So wanted to mention that too. Don't turn it into a popsicle if you can.
Yeah.
Basically. So yeah, that kind of covers those bases there. Anything else?
Well, I think a big part of the when, so early ice, early December, and then late March, April. A big part of that is the weather as well. Not only are they more active, like right now, in their feeding habits, and in April they're getting ready for spring, because they do go very dormant in January, February. Like you can have good days, don't get me wrong, but you're just less likely. But a big thing is with positive temperatures like -5 or above freezing, so that when you're running a second line with a jaw jacker, which I'm sure almost all of our listeners are familiar with, which is a huge I wouldn't say game changer, but it's a weapon you need to have. And if you're trying to run jaw jackers in -15, -20, it's a pain in the butt. Like if you got to go and even if you run the insulated like foam covers to insulate your hole, they still freeze eventually. And like the slightest little resistance that a trout feels, if your line's just a little frozen in that hole, they're not like a pike where they're just gonna pull down on it, and you're gonna miss a lot of fish. And so you're really restricted in cold temperatures to fishing in your shack and having that hand touch. So I think like for me, I don't like fishing for stock trout if it's going to be colder than -10. I just don't do it.
Yeah, and you want to be spread out too. I've found with this. So as far as being stuck to just your tent, that can make things tougher with your second line, right?
Because like 20, 30 feet can make a huge difference if you're going to have a sleigh day or a nothing day.
Right. And I guess one thing before we get into it, like I know I've seen some videos, I've messed around a little bit as far as just a regular conventional tip up for trout as well. But that setting ability of jaw jacker type things is a big advantage to that. I don't know. Have you had much success with just a typical regular tip up?
I've run like a dead stick back in the day when I was an early trout fisherman, and it did work. Just like putting a rod on one of those rod holders on a bucket, and then just kind of watching it, and you had to be quick on it. But
I was going to say,
you could get them.
Probably missed quite a few drops. Like the way trout pick up and drop things is insane, which comes into the line freezing with the jaw jacker. So even if you're being responsible and making sure that you're not freezing up as often, it's just kind of inevitable throughout the day with those really cold temps. So yeah, no, that's fair. So we're talking handful of species here. We're talking early ice, late ice. Obviously, check your ice conditions with both. You're starting to get in some rotten ice potentially late season, and early ice. Obviously, there's so much out there about the safety with that, so we won't kind of cover that too much. But spud bars, spikes, all that good stuff, and be checking all that. But
go with a buddy.
Yes.
Early ice, even late ice, like go with somebody, because conditions can suck.
Yeah, and then the trout start talking to you if you're alone again. So,
or a toe biter will come catch you.
Yeah, me and Jesse, we're not supposed to tell stories in this.
No.
No stories in the pre-fish.
We've already told that story.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure we have.
Yeah, people can go search for that. I have no idea when that was. So let's see here. How to see where trout are stocked? Well, so we went over these stocked trout lists for Saskatchewan here, For Manitoba, you can use the Master Angler program. The way you can look things up there is quite nice to see what people are entering for those lakes. I'm pretty sure each province that stocks is going to have a list available, usually in their government publications, as far as where that is. There is some other websites. Shout out to, I got to find it here. I just had it. I don't want to say it wrong, but they, as far as Saskatchewan goes, they are a pretty good website for some quick information on lots of the lakes, sasklakes.ca.
Yeah, they've been doing a really good job.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the guy who's running it right now, or the people that are running it, but if you're listening, keep doing a good job. You're doing great.
So that's it. You'll see that link come up quite a bit, and it's got quick information on the lake, not just fishing information either, but it usually has what species are in there, so you can use websites like that and kind of get an idea of where you want to head for these stock trout. So that's kind of a nice way. You're not just wondering where the heck are they putting all these fish. So that's kind of the start there. But then getting into where you should be targeting them in the lake now. I don't know if you want to get into this one.
So once you find a lake on the stocking report that is close to you, or it's in an area that you're interested in, or even if you're going up on like a 2-3 day trip, right? You're going to fish for pike, walleye, and you notice, oh, hey, there's a stock trout lake right next to here. That'd be kind of fun for a day. Try to find a depth map. I mean, as far as I know, every stock trout lake that I've ever looked into was surveyed at one point in their life. Like, it could have been from the 60s, and it's probably not very accurate, but it helps give you an idea of some depth and some breaks and edges. Ideally, Angler's Edge Mapping has ran over it, and you can get a beautiful... Which they have a lot of
those smaller lakes.
Especially on the east side, right?
Yes.
And ideally, you can see that and get this beautiful, detailed map. And my number one thing that I tell everybody with stock trout is trout love corners. I've said it on this podcast before. I'll say it again. Corners, corners, corners. And Logan's asked, well, what about a round lake? You can still find a corner.
How'd you know I was thinking that? It might not be a corner in the top version of it, but there's a corner down there somewhere along a break line or something like that, right?
Exactly. Like, you're going to find where a steep edge leads to even a flat, and that creates a corner. Even points, like the slightest little underwater point, instead of setting up on the tip of the point, I'm more the guy that'll set in on the shallow end of things where the bowl would begin. That's my thing.
And we're talking shallow here for any of these applications.
Yeah, like start in 10, 12 feet and have a look shallow on the break line, or even up on the flat. If it's like 3 feet on the weed edge, I've run lines in less than a foot of water.
Well, that brown came in 2.5 feet, I think.
Yeah.
And it was probably 2 feet long.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why these trout are so much fun too. Cause they got nowhere to go except sideways. So it's a blast, but yeah, like start 10 feet right on if you got a drop off in a flat like this, let's say, and this is, inches of water, and this is a foot of water, and then your break line goes down visually. I don't know if people are watching. for the people that are watching can see my hands.
Yeah, this is making sense for them.
People that are listening, I set up my shack after the main break. So as it's continuing down, I'm about within 10 feet of the start of the drop off on the deep end. And I'll run a line up shallow, and I'll have a look out deeper. Generally, as the day goes on, you'll find the fish go deeper down that structure and go from, let's say, 3 feet to 6 feet, down to 12, down to 18. I have not had much success deeper than 18. Not saying it's not possible, but with live scope, it would probably definitely help.
Right. And prefacing this with, again, this is from our experience. I have no idea if this will apply to somewhere like some of the Duck Mountain lakes that are 130 feet, and the stocked fish are way different. No idea. I'll put my hand up right now and say that. No idea. This is generally shallower lakes, smaller lakes, everything like that.
I wouldn't say necessarily shallow. Like the ones I'm talking about still get down to 60 feet.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like Shirley gets down to 80, I'm sure.
Surely it does.
Surely, has to. And Fern is a 60-foot deep. And anyway, Poplar Ridge, that gets down to 50. And it's kind of a square, rectangular lake.
No, lots of corners.
There's at least 4 in a rectangle.
Oh, okay, that's true. That's true.
But aside from corners, what was already kind of mentioned is transition lines, drop-offs, breaking points, any sort of edge, right, for these fish to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be a variety of things.
Could be.
Right.
I was going to say, when you're thinking about this, when you're mentioning the drop-off, like one thing to mention or to think about is you want to be able to be seen, right? So if those fish are off that break and they're cruising that break, they might not see your jackers sitting in 1.5 feet of water, just given how that is. A wise friend of ours, Fishy B, we were talking about trout, and we were talking about this is open water, but trout feed up. So consider that too. It's just you want to be seen with lots of this, 100%. Especially when it's a set line, right? You're not creating any commotion. We're going to talk about jigging and stuff too, but as far as a set line goes, like you want to be seen. So yeah, that's kind of one thing to think about too with your positioning.
100%. You want to be set up on the shallower end, and they'll come up for you instead of go down.
Yeah.
And then if you can find weed edges, there's a certain type of weeds that, in my opinion, trout will avoid. They don't really like the vertical strands, like the cabbage weed that still is there standing. If it's sparse enough, they will go through it, but there's a limit. They don't want to be around standing vegetation. You can find that matted, like carpet bed along, let's say, a sand edge, or even along the drop-off. Often you'll find the weeds in that shallow bit, and then as soon as the lake drops down to 6-8 feet, those weeds are gone. That's perfect. That's a main point of focus.
Right. And I've always liked reeds as well. But yeah. I mean, that could also just be because they're shallow. Right, reeds are typically out of the water. And
it's like the edge of the lake, right? If they're able to cruise the edge, like what we're getting at is these trout are always moving. They're always swimming, looking for food. They don't really sit still much.
It's just about intercepting that path. So if you can stay on those highways, and it's probably almost easier for them to continue. Like if you were always looking at a dark, say, carpet weed bottom, you might almost kind of wonder where am I going? But if you're following that break line or that transition of weed to sand or weed to rock, it kind of gives them that point of reference probably, right? And so
100%.
You can set up around that. And they've got great eyesight, so they're going to see things, which could be a detriment as well, because I know if they know it's fake or something, they might not be interested. Or if trout have too much time to decide, they might not like it. But yeah, they have great eyesight, so that can be handy for you. And when you might say, oh, how do I know where these transitions are? There's ice over the lake. Well, usually these lakes are so clear that you can drill your holes and look through there. And obviously once you've been there a couple times, you kind of have an idea of where these are. But Jesse could attest to it. It's lots of drilling holes and looking to get right where you want to be. Even if you know the lake, it's still to get exactly where you want to be. It's lots of holes. And, yeah. Exactly.
And bring a like live scope's great, transducers or flashers are great, but bring an underwater camera with you. So because even like when you look down your hole just by your own eyeballs, you're only seeing a small cone. Where if you drop a little underwater camera with you down there, you can spin it and see, and you'll be able to tell if there's standing vegetation. You'll be able to see the rock edge. You'll be able to see sand edge, mud edge, and hopefully see a fish cruising too. I bring an underwater camera, a little pocket one, to almost all stock trout lakes for that reason.
Well, and you just made me think some. What's your thoughts on how many of these fish are cruising right below the ice?
Depends on the food source in the lake.
Toe pinchers.
I was gonna get there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can get there. I don't want to spoil it.
we can get there now.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So if you're fishing this stocked lake, and you got your shack set up, and you're looking down your hole, you're doing some sight fishing, let's say. Pay attention to if you're seeing minnows down in the rocks, or as you're drilling holes, if you're pulling up beetles, the boatsmen, the water boatmen, is that what they're called? I think.
Yeah. I think
and
so.
you're pulling those up.
Backswimmers, we call them.
Yeah.
Water boatmen.
And you're pulling those up in your auger once you're done drilling your hole. So if you're seeing beetles, that's a huge food source for these trout. The beetles are all getting oxygen bubbles along the bottom of the ice. You're going to catch trout that are just cruising the bottom of the ice eating beetles. They're swimming along and just gouging on them or gorging on them. But if you're in a lake where there's not so many beetles and you're seeing more minnows like sticklebacks down in the rocks and in the weeds, well, then you're going to want to focus deeper with your presentations, and you're going to want to focus on those rocks and on those weeds that you're seeing those minnows. Mm-hmm. If you're seeing minnows, I would bet that rocks are going to be better in that lake than anything, because the minnows love to just get in the cracks and hide in those rocks.
Right. No, that's fair. That's a good point with that. It is crazy. Like, we'll kind of mention, obviously, lots of people know sight holes for that. It's crazy how many bugs will come up your sight hole and kind of give you an idea of what they're feeding on there. And yeah, no, that's one thing to consider there. Sight holes, mark them if you make them, so whoever's walking out the next couple days has an idea. But yeah, no, that's a good point there, because yeah, they will, the way they cruise, it's, I'm sure, like you said, depending on the forage in the lake, like you can, and I've done it with tip ups for pike too, like you can put that right below the ice sometimes, and they're a fan of it. So yeah, no, that's a good thing to mention there.
And in reality too, the bottom of the ice is just another edge for them to follow, in a sense, right? Like that's just another thing for them to stay orientated to, and if the beetles are there, they're gonna be happy there. Yeah.
So I guess the summary for that, your transitions really of any of the transitions, the right type of weeds, and then yeah, depending on the forage in the lake, kind of get an idea of where you want to be in that water column as well. And I mean, trout are, when they want to go, like it can be insane quick action. I would say, as far as being quiet, stuff like that, like I don't think you really want to be ripping around, walking around your lines, especially with how shallow you might be. But then again, when I was in Manitoba, our only master that day, the one day we were fishing, came while we were still drilling holes and setting up other ones. And so it's, I mean, you never know for sure, but obviously that's something. The trout can be quite spooky, so that's one thing there. So I think we kind of covered where in the lake we want to be, and maybe get into some of our gear / presentations.
I think so. I think that's the where. Yeah, any edge, any structure. The depths are probably going to change. Early light, last light, up shallow. As the midday midday, go deeper, push deeper, look deeper, use your electronics.
This is where it helps having another person with you too, right? Because you can
spread out
the
your
two
lines.
Yeah, you're only allowed 2 here in Saskatchewan, so may as well. If you got more people, you can cover more area, right? And kind of dial into that, especially if you're there for a couple days. Obviously, every day is a different day of fishing, but
helps hone in.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, that's good.
And then, for the gear, I mean, you don't need to have a fancy rod and reel setup. You don't need anything crazy. You can go out there with the $25 or the cheapest.
You can use willow branches.
You could. I don't recommend.
Jay has a video with that, right? With some little brookies, like
for sure.
Yeah, trout fishing can be some of the most complicated or some of the most primitive fishing that it can be the whole spectrum. So with that, as far as like, I guess, a rod action, what are you recommending? Like a medium light, or? I'm like
a medium light guy.
Yeah. I mean, if you get into some of these big trout, like say, especially if you hook into a Diefenbaker one, you can get some tanks and they're going to take you for runs.
This is true.
So consider that too, what lake you're going to and what you want to have
the
set
potential
up.
Is.
Yeah, but
I mean, even almost any of the stocked lakes in Saskatchewan, you got a potential for a 30-inch rainbow, depending on what's stocked in there, obviously, but you got potential for a 30-inch, 10-pound, 12-pound fish. Like
you never know.
Could be in there.
Yeah.
And even bigger, right? So
you want to be prepared, but as far as generally speaking.
Yeah. And like for me, I'm running 8 or 10-pound braid on my reel, and then 6-pound fluorocarbon leader, at least 3 feet of it. I try to judge it so I don't have to reel in my knot, so that
when you're fighting it.
So when I'm fighting it, I can reel up to the knot, the connection point of my braid to fluoro, and then be able to lift up like by myself, because I fish by myself quite a bit. Don't want to sound don't want to sound lonely or anything here. Yeah. But even just like if your buddy's busy or he's in the shack and you run out, like you got to be self-sufficient out there. So I try to imagine like, okay, I can hold the rod up above my head and then still reach down to my knees and grab the fish. That ends up being about 3 feet, maybe 4 feet at the most. Mm-hmm. And that should give you enough of that invisibility from your main line to your hook that you need for most stock trout lakes. Right. If you're getting into like more pressured areas, more pressured fish, then I would double that. I would go to 6 feet.
Yeah. Well, lots of guys, depending if you're going to be reeling up to it, have seen lots running little tiny swivels too.
Yeah.
To take any twist out, right? But obviously you're only going to be reeling so far with those two. So that's kind of one thing to consider there. But yeah, and then as far as jaw jacker setups, I've gone little tiny trebles. I've done little tiny octopus. I don't know if you have a preference, but it's all small for the most part.
Small and natural, right? Like bugs, flies, balanced leeches, tube jigs, like minnow imitations.
Trout dough, so natural.
Trout dough. It's just the perfect pink marshmallow.
I mean, all jokes aside, it works. Like trout dough works well, just not natural, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah. And it totally depends on the day. So like I'm the kind of guy that I'm rotating presentations and colors and lures. If I know there's fish swimming and cruising, I'm rotating them out every 30, 45 minutes, I'll say. Like with under an hour, I'm trying a different presentation on something.
Right. Yeah, see what's working that day, right?
And that's like dead stick or jigging.
Yeah. Yeah.
So should we focus on just the maybe jigging presentations first?
Yeah, there's not really anything else to touch on with the jaw jacker, right? It's
Yeah, I mean, you're either using dead bait like worms, leeches, minnows, mealworms, maggots even, or you're using a bug imitation, a tube jig, or dough. Plastic or dough. That's pretty much it, as far as I know.
Yeah, no, nothing too crazy with that stuff, and then just letting it bake, waiting for something to happen there. But yeah, I guess the jigging presentations might be a little different. I don't know what you think. I guess I'll just say like I like rattles, but I found the way that I've never seen trout zoom around and try and go at it, but not commit more than with a rattle bait, right?
They're almost just like playing with it, you know? Like a freaking
so
orca.
The new nano rattle from Rapala should be interesting to see because it is quite a bit smaller presentation there. But I also quite like little tube jigs. I don't know what you think about that, but little tiny tube jigs. And then, you could jig a minnow as well. I've done quite well with nymphs, obviously. And then some nice shiny jigging spoons as well.
For sure.
I've done with that. I don't know what you think.
Those new little tungsten, we just talked about them yesterday, Logan. Little tungsten jigging spoons with the blade from 13.
The torpedo tungstens?
Torpedoes. I think those would be deadly.
Yeah, nice snappy action.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's going to be days where trout are going to hit your dead sticks more than your jigging, and there's going to be days where they're going to hit your jigging more than your dead sticks. Always start with each. Whether your dead stick's right beside you or it's 20 yards over, you just gotta give it a try. And there's an old saying, I think, in fishing that goes, 1 fish is luck, 2 fish is a theory, and 3 fish is a pattern. So keep that in mind. If your dead stick's got 3 fish, you got 1, I'd be putting another dead stick out.
Yeah.
I would just sit and watch.
Yeah, what a lot of the trout fishing is, right? You watch lots of YouTube videos, and it'd be hard to do a stock trout video. It's like, yeah, we're running 2 jaw jackers today, and yeah, I'll let you know when something bites it, right? You're not sitting there jigging or watching on the trout trip we did 2 years ago, whatever. I brought the live scope. I think I had it on for about 5 minutes, and then I was running 2 jaw jackers the rest of the time, right?
Yeah.
So, because that's basically all that they were hitting on for the most part.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely can be. You want to be prepared, but yeah, they could. Trout are finicky and indecisive at best.
100%.
So
Yeah.
so that's some stuff to consider there. But yeah, I don't know if do you have anything else to cap that off? Or do we kind of cover everything there?
Man, I think that's pretty much
we talk
it.
master angler sizes quickly?
Yeah, let's do that.
Wrap things up there. I pulled up the list here. This is for the Saskatchewan Master Angler Program. I'm not going to share the screen here. I'll just read it out quick. So your brook trout, 18 inches. Brown trout, 22 inches. What is the next one here? Rainbow trout, 22 inches. Splake, 20 inches. Tiger trout, 20 inches. I think that covers them all, hey? There should be, yeah. No, so there's some sizes to keep in mind there. Again, if you are going to be bump boarding it, you want to be quick. If you're using a metal board, wet it first. I talk about wetting your hands, everything like that. Everything's just amplified in the winter, so keep those things in mind when you're doing that. But yeah, we're pretty lucky to have lots of the stock lakes we have. You can go any time of the year. Our favorite time, early ice, late ice as well, when most other things are closed. But yeah, you'd probably see anyone who's on the socials and stuff see there once things start to freeze, it's the stock lakes that start to get hit first when people are wanting to scratch that itch and wait for some of the bigger water bodies to freeze.
And there's probably been quite a few people out already. We're kind of a little late to the gun, but we're still thinking about it. I know I'm definitely going to be heading out. Yeah.
Who's the scheduling master here? Yeah, no, we'll be getting some going here. Jesse's home now, so yeah, he'll be doing mostly stock trout until maybe he comes south here to hit up some walleye. I don't know if I'll be doing walleye or stock trout first. I'm not too sure yet. We'll see what this weekend brings. So it's this episode's released here, but we'll be on the ice somewhere. So if you see us out and about, ask Jesse for his locations. He always gives his waypoints.
Generally.
You don't want mine because they're useless. But no, I think that wraps up pretty well everything for the stock trout. If you have any questions, shoot us a message. We'll try and help out or point you to someone who knows.
Or if we missed anything.
Yeah. No, that'd be good too.
If people got another idea that we should, talk about or mention, let me know. That's what we're here for. We're here to learn and we're here to educate and do our best. For sure. I can say for trout fishing, split shots are your friend. Yeah.
Should have mentioned that. But
you want a couple lead little split shots to help get your lure down.
Yeah, especially with those, whether it's a minnow or something like that.
Yeah, or mealworm, tungsten jigs for perch. Yeah.
You'll have to do a mealworm episode. I got my farm going. Yeah, we're on my 3rd generation. And now I'm just like, I don't even want to use them. I just want to keep growing it bigger. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's for another one here. We were trying to keep this one short. I'm not sure what it's going to end up like, but I hope you enjoyed volume 3 of the pre-fish here. As always, want to mention 13 Fishing, the presenting sponsor, on our way out here. Big thanks to them for being the presenting sponsor of the show. Tons of great stock trout items on the Rapala Canada website. And on that website, you can use the code Weekend Warriors to save yourself 15% off at checkout. Ships crazy quick. Shout out to Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation for doing the stocking. Go check out that auction and help support the cause. Get your membership as well. Jesse's doing some horn scoring nights coming up here. Those will be happening across the province for anyone who is lucky enough to not be having tag soup like me this year. But no, I think that pretty well wraps everything up here. This has been episode 107, Pre-Fish Volume 3. Good luck to everyone out there this weekend, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to leave a review on your favorite listening platform so we can reach more anglers just like you. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for media updates and behind-the-scenes content.